In recent years, Fargo-Shanley High School has been very successful in the North Dakota Poetry Out Loud competition, with much of the credit belonging to English teacher Brian Geffrey. With great enthusiasm, Geffrey helps his students learn, recite, and interpret poems for the competition.
It was a picture I had after the war. A bombed English church. I was too young to know the words English or war.
The sponsors of Poetry Out Loud are the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation.
But now that you run and climb and leap...
This is a recitation competition, so they take poems that have been published and memorize and interpret those poems.
I gaze upon her rose-wreathed hair.
If they make it to the finals in Bismarck, they must have a poem that's under 25 lines, a poem that is from pre-20th century, and then a poem of their choice.
I think I know enough.
Usually people who move on to the next level have a variety of poems that they do to show the depth of their expression. Once they get it memorized, it's a lot easier for them to work on the emotion, but some people just won't ever get to that point. But the ones that do, they're the ones that really start to imagine what is in the poem, and then they bring out that in their voice. I really do believe that once you visualize it, it will naturally come out. Being able to speak clearly and use imagery in the way you speak.
He's different really in his teaching ways. He's just like, he wants us to really understand what we're learning and how we're learning it. He has a lot of class discussions to make sure we really understand what we're learning and like why we are learning it.
When Mr. Geffrey talks about poetry, he just lights up. It's so Poetry Out Loud's coming, get ready and everything. You know, he really makes kids want to try. Like he makes kids want to like learn the poetry and like look at the meaning behind the poem, and he helps kids along. He like helps them if they're not fully understanding what the poem is about, or if they don't really grasp what the poet's trying to say. He really helps with that.
Break up into little groups, 3 to 4, and I want you to practice your poem, okay?
Rejoice and men will seek you, grieve and they turn and go.
Please give your best and your most active attention to Timothy Murphy.
Yeah!
Between a marsh and Avril, when spry beginneth to springa, the little fool hath here a will on here a lud to singa. Ich lib in love longing for semlicus to bala thinga, he my me bliss bringa, ich ham in here a bon doen. Now, of course, for you kids, that's like listening to chamber music. But that's what the language sounded like 200 years after the Norman conquest, when the Norman French...
Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice.
From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those
who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough.
Laughs with you. Weep, and you weep alone. For the sad old earth. I like that it's a simple way to express your emotions, and just write or say what you want to say without it being too long or it being too short, or you can just express your emotion in a good way.
There's a place I know where the birds swing low and wayward vines go roaming, where the lilacs...
What if it were possible to vanquish all this shame with a wash of varnish, instead of wishing this... Everything but death comes to me and makes me work and give up...
It gathers to a greatness like the ooze of oil.
Oh, she cried, and all the rest unsaid, identical came back in sorry echo.
Before high-piled books and charactery hold like rich garners the full ripened grain.
But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage.
5 or 6. Okay. All right. Next was Grace Kidder.
0 mistake.
I was going to say that was really well. That changes the rhythm where the rhythm is important to the poem.
Yes,
Julia was next.
0 mistake.
Gregory Beauclair.
All right, no, he did the repeat. Yeah.
She got a 31 for me.
I got a 33.
The way she was comfortable with it, the way she recited it. Okay. All right, next was
Maddie Dancer.
When I have fears that I may cease to be,
before my pen has gleaned my teeming brain.
The thought that stings. How are you? Nothing.
5 p.m. on the nose. They open their mouths and it rolls out.
Sometimes I growl, shake myself, and he was rich, yes, richer than a king, and admirably schooled in every grace.
You squeezed its leash in your fist. It followed where you led. Tick-tock, nodding its wooden head.
My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair.
The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still. And his tune is
Aye, now by all the bitter tears that I have shed for thee, the racking doubts, the burning fears, avenged they well may be. The ruined city still seemed noble. The cathedral with its roof blown off was not less godly.
I don't block the audience out at all. I actually take in the audience. I love watching their eyes and seeing their reactions, and I tend to feed off that. I tend to feed off a crowd. If I was saying my poem one-on-one to you, you'd probably not think it's very good, but I gain a lot of energy from the crowd in the eyes.
For the second year in a row, we have as our champion, Julia Johnson.
I loved hearing the other competitors say their poems, and I just get so happy for them when they're able to do as well as they do, because the competition does get stiffer as you get higher up, and people are gonna be good. But I mainly focus on myself and what I need to do and how well I can do.
Then there will be no speaker in all the world say the name, the people, with any fleck of a sneer in his voice or any far-off smile of derision. The mob, the crowd, the mass will arrive then.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008. The North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.